Now, you are no doubt familiar with the pop-up function in a web browser. You place your mouse over something and a little window pops up with extra information. Well, iBooks Author can do that with a Pop Over Widget. To do that, let's just go back to the first page of Christopher Columbus. There's a section here on the Mediterranean and Aegean Seas. Now, seas, to be grammatically correct, should have a capital S because they are special seas we're talking about. Now, in order to make this work, we need to make it obvious that this leads to something. So I'm going to choose some obvious text. I might just go back to my old Arial and I might make it perhaps a little bit bigger even, and I could make it a different colour, something that's going to stand out. And some of it is obviously different to anything else, so that if I press this, it's going to bring up something. Right, now that I've done that to my text, look, I could even underline it, I could do any of those standard things. But that'll do for now. I go up to Widgets and come down to my Pop Over Widget. Now, you only get one chance of this, so do it straight away. In here I have some text on the Aegean and Mediterranean Sea. Just copy that and paste it in there. You can also insert an image, so I'm going to have a nice little image here that I've made up, which I'm just going to drag over and pop into position. Now notice all the text has jumped out of the way. It's a bit fiddly, this. Resize it as much as I can, may as well get it as big as I can. And the text has jumped again, so once again I'll just move it down. That's out of the way of the text. I'll just use my scroll bar to check. Yes, there it is. That looks really good. Now that's my pop-up. Now when I said you only had one chance is because once I click off it, that disappears and you don't get it back. Now this is the pop-up trigger. When your finger presses this on the screen, up appears the message, the image and the little explanation. This is like creating a hotspot in a web browser. If you've ever done that, it'll be a familiar process to you. Now, we have three things to do. First of all, to make it the pop-up, we have to actually place it over the top of Mediterranean and Aegean Seas, and of course it won't do that at the moment. So in our inspector window, if the inspector window is not open, just press inspector over here. Now, three things we have to do. In the wrapping section, we turn off wrapping. So now it just sits over the top of the text. Now we need to resize it, but at the moment it resizes in proportion, which is no good. So we go to our ruler and we take off constrain proportions. Now I can resize it to any size I want it to be. And I'm going to resize it so it's just over the text. But it's no good if I can't see the text. So now we have to go into the shapes and turn its opacity down. I'll leave it up a little bit just while I position it. It doesn't matter if you overlap a little bit. The idea is to pop something up when you get near it. So I'll do that and then I'll turn its opacity right down to nothing. So now it's totally invisible. So as I said, this is like creating a hotspot in a web browser, which we do quite often if you do any of that sort of thing. That will now work, but you can't see it work here. It only works once it's on the iPad. So now that you've created that, export for a preview, and when you touch that, up will pop the information and the image.